Peace, Queen. I'm sorry I didn't get your name. So you won't, I think I sent it. Or maybe I took it out. Let me start over. Yeah, so you can see I put rain there. All right, that's all I wanted to show you. But thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you. I'm going to break down a few things, so bear with me as I bounce around. And I have my little cursor here to show you what area of the chart I'm reading when I'm in there. And I also did something really special and conjured up a transit chart for you, so if you can see, it's you against the energy of this time. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as well a little later in the reading. All right, so you are a Gemini rising, and you also have your North and South Node in this angle, along with Jupiter and Gemini in the first house. So typically whenever I do a reading, depending on what people want to know, the basic general placements I focus on is the rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign. So these are the houses that I'll be focusing on the most. But sometimes they intertwine and messages just come up and I'm all over the place. So bear with me as I get through it. The best way to describe what your rising sign really is, not knowing how much you know about astrology, is all the 12 houses rule a specific area of life. Your rising sign is the first house, so this is about you, who you are, who people see, the first impressions that people see when they see you. The best description that I can give you is a house. If you're coming up to, or somebody's coming up to your house, this is going to be the first thing that they see about you. The outside, how the garden is, if you got paint, is the paint nice? You know, all those things that you see when you first pull up to someone's house. And the sun sign is going to be when you walk through the door, that general area, which is typically, right, the living room. And you could probably see bits and pieces of each area of the house, but you don't have a full view, right? So this is a general overview of the house. And then the moon represents, you know, this is a little bit more personal. This is your bedroom, where all the pillow talk goes down, right? And so those are the placements that I'm going to focus on the most. So you have, this is actually really quite powerful, this Gemini rising placement, because you currently are having a nodal return, and your North and South node represent your purpose in this lifetime, right? So the South node, which is your Sagittarius, which is exactly the way the alignment is this time, represents the area of life that you're letting go of, some kind of belief that you've held on to for quite some time that is now deteriorating. It's no longer serving you, so you're releasing that, reforming it, reviewing it, rebuilding it in somehow, some way. And then you have the Gemini, which is your North node, and this is the mission. This is your purpose in this lifetime. It's you. So the first house is always about you, the actual person. How you look, your physique, your appearance, maybe perhaps taking on some kind of role on the center stage, on the world stage, or being recognized for something. This is gaining weight, losing weight, perhaps changing your look, or something, maybe you're thinking about doing something a little bit different about yourself. Um, I'm just trying to think what else this could mean. Yeah, those are the basic things that come with the first house right off top. So this could be something that you're experiencing at this time, and I'll go into that a little bit more when I look at your transit chart. And Gemini rules communication, intelligence. You could be very social, a great speaker, great at networking, or perhaps be drawn to doing group work. You like trying new things, learning new things, very funny and playful. You could look very, very young and petite, although Jupiter does expand whatever it touches. You can even actually look way younger than typical, like any typical a Gemini rising sign, but very youthful. You have a very youthful look for you. This is the type of person who it doesn't really matter how old you get, you're going to get carded in the store always, right? And you can be very versatile as opposed to like what you like to wear, right? One day it could be very bohemian, the next day it could be very classy. Like it just depends on what's going on with you in your life, perhaps what you're involved with, what type of things you're attending. And Mercury is very business minded here. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So you could be a very business minded person, jack of all trades. This is the entrepreneur. Typically you want to go in 10 different directions and accomplish them, despite the fact that most people will say jack of all trades, master of none. It's actually not really true, but or I should say it really depends on what other planets you got going on with you. But ultimately, because you have Jupiter here, Jupiter wants to expand all those Gemini traits here. So you can have multiple businesses. Jupiter rules the 9th house, which is right here, and you have this in Aquarius. The 9th house rules higher education, higher knowledge, law, wisdom, philosophy, spirituality, religion, moral things, ethical things, long distance travel, so culture, even some kind of culture. Yeah. And so because you have Jupiter and Gemini here, you could be a teacher around business or philosophy, or be very like preachy about how you teach, right? Your passion it could come off like you're preaching. Not preachy like in a bad way, but like the voice of a preacher, right? Or the way it's the way you approach things is like a preacher would, where you're teaching a lessons, like your speech could be about teaching lessons in some kind of way, or communicating to get a message out, or some kind of wisdom and knowledge, your divine self or beliefs, or philanthropy even, or you've got some experience and wisdom around how to be a great salesman, or marketing things. You're just very clever with your words, right? That gets people to buy your product, to buy into whatever it is you're selling. And so Jupiter wants to expand that. So you could even have knowledge in these types of things along with your experience that kind of helps you be really great in whatever it is that you do in that way. And then you have the second house, which is ruled by Cancer. And the reason I'm talking about this is because you have your moon here in the opposite. So Cancer rules the fourth house. Okay, and this is a really big area of life here, so we need to break all this down. So Cancer rules your mom, nurturing, your emotions, because it's in the house of Taurus. This could be the way you feel about your possessions or things that you value, things of value, whether it be art, money, art, money, or you could just have many different businesses, a side hustle, a part-time job to your full-time job. This is your 7 streams of income here. Being good at budgeting, or maybe these are things that you got from your mom. I think Geminis are really good at understanding, learning from others. So because right here is your mom, you probably had a very close relationship with your mom, and you've seen her do these things, so you emulate her very well, right? There's some kind of relationship that you have with your mom that you've picked up along the way. That's just how Geminis learn. That's why we're called the magician. We're the children of the zodiac. We learn through, if you think about how a child learns by watching their siblings or family members, that's how Geminis learn. It's not always necessarily education. That's why Geminis are they're self-made, kind of self-made energy here. So perhaps your mom was a businesswoman in some way, and you've picked up these types of things, or she's good with money, fashion even. What else does Taurus rule? Food, cooking, nurturing perhaps. Small get-togethers. That's where the group work could come into. And passion for group work, if that's something that you're into. Or perhaps this is the type of mother you are to your children. You teach them about money, budgeting, 7 streams of income, generational wealth, security, emotional security, financial security. Did I say fashion already? Fashion, beauty, love, because it was ruled by Venus. So I'm trying to think of all the Venusian things that Venus rules. And because it's opposite to the 8th house, which is where your moon is, this is also a representation of your mom in some kind of way. This is actually a placement of a sign that you'll live a long life, a good life, a very disciplined life. This shows your intimate life, your personal side, your emotional reactions to things, the way you like to be nurtured, how people make you, the need for people to make you feel safe and secure. Like these types of things will represent that within your chart. However, Capricorn is not a very emotional sign. It's actually quite a difficult placement for it to be. I shouldn't say that they're not emotional, because that's not true. They don't show their emotions easily. I'll say that. That's a better statement. This may be the way your mother was with you, perhaps, or again, the type of mother that you are, a little bit detached, strict, authoritative even. Or and it doesn't have actually just have to be your mom. It could be whoever the dominant parent is too. But just you don't demonstrate emotions here. You don't feel like signs of weakness are good signs or ways to express yourself. This is definitely not a person who's going to cry if something comes up. You're gonna handle it in a very practical kind of way. You're probably not good with asking for help. Maybe even in your younger years, I would say that also too. It depends on how old you are, and I apologize. I didn't look at the year for sure that you were born, but these could be things that you've had to overcome that you've now mastered as well, depending on your age, right? But more than anything, you're definitely going to show whatever emotions are going to come up in more practical ways, like having life insurance for your family, teaching your siblings about good money skills, or building tangible things like having a home that you want to pass down to your family. You could have had to be very responsible at a young age. Perhaps even you're the oldest with this placement, but not always necessarily, especially because Gemini is not represented as the oldest. But you probably had to grow up really quick. Very loyal and faithful here. You could be very isolated. You don't typically like to be around other people unless it's things that you genuinely like being involved with, or again, unless they're bringing you tangible, practical things, like status. You know what I mean? Because the 8th house rules debt, taxes, other people's money, people who owe you money, and money that you owe to other people, insurances. I call this all the residual income, so investing even here with this placement. So you probably have all of these things for your family, siblings to be specific, mother even, maybe your mother started this as a generational thing and passed it down to you, and you're passing it down to your siblings and or family members if you have any children or anything like that. Or you have a husband who provides you with this type of thing, or maybe their family was very wealthy. Your mom could have been wealthy as well with that second house placement, or just very good with money, very, very good with money. Even though it would have appeared that funds could be up and down, it's because it's in Cancer, and Cancer is a very emotional sign. So sometimes she's up, sometimes she's down. It really would depend on what transits are going on at the time. But overall, I see the possibility for some type of stability here. Or it could have been that you grew up impoverished, and you had to learn these things, and that was a part of your lesson, right? And your Capricorn moon and emotions really helped you solidify those things, ground them even, because you didn't want to live the way perhaps you've seen your mom or your family go through. That could be another alternative. But that brings us right into this 4th house energy, right? You're very calculated when it comes to your home life. Could even be OCD, especially like things have to be by the budget, right? Virgo is about healing, cures, disagreements, divorce. and animals, your daily routine. Yeah, you can be very critical here because it's home and family. That's what fourth house rules, is ruled by the moon, and this rules your home and family. This could be property as well, maybe some type of real estate, but maybe perhaps your family owns real estate or property. And again, something about this theme is coming up quite heavy now. Some type of generational thing that has been passed down through the family, and it definitely could be property. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just making sure that I'm not missing anything. Sun in Virgo also rules your father, government. Your dad could have been a perfectionist, so that could be something that you've learned from him. Like, this is like everything in the house has to be teety-tighty. You know, again, very calculated. And this could be a trait that you have now, perhaps that you're passing down to your family. Or you're doing the opposite. It could definitely be the opposite of that energy. This could be you working in the field of things with agreements or disagreements. So again, a lawyer perhaps. Maybe your dad was a lawyer and he worked for like not pro bono. Is that, yeah, pro bono work? You know, like the lawyers who do. They take on all the cases for people who can't afford a lawyer, right? He could have done something like that, or just worked in nonprofits, right, around a lot of poverty where they're giving back some kind of service. This could even be hospitals. Perhaps your dad or you could work in a hospital or in these kinds of fields. Some kind of way that this represents your work life. I don't know why I just got like, what do they call that? Jesus. Especially with everything that came up with COVID, I'm pretty sure this place gets a lot of business. Department of Public Health. Jesus. It could have been that, right, where you make policies for cleanliness, right? Sterilization, you know, Virgos are very health conscious, or cleanliness, like in this kind of way, or even like very feng shui. So it might not even been that the house needs to be teety-tighty, but everything has its place, and in its place is everything, right? This also comes with a lot of obstacles, and you know, you resolve them, or you've seen your dad work through a lot of obstacles, and in this way it's taught you how to resolve obstacles in some kind of way, or just being in service to people in difficult situations. This is also a workaholic. You could definitely be the person who works yourself to death, or again, that could be your dad. Or you can be in the field of diversity, right? You're the person who goes into the company that teaches people about culture, and how to treat people culturally from a cultural perspective, right? I'm laughing because my sister, these things she's very passionate about. She calls it culture infusion, or culture infused curriculums and things of that nature. Anything that teaches diversification. Or, the person who writes all the rule books, right? This is how your day-to-day routine should be at your work. You could be that person, right? Could be. Yeah, and then you have Uranus and Virgo, and this is this placement right here, and it's not an easy placement. This is not an easy placement to have. This is in your 4th house, so it really kind of, perhaps you weren't able to be your unique, independent self at a very young age. Like, you didn't have room to express yourself in that way, so it took you a long time to grow into who you were meant to be, perhaps. Yeah. Which could have led to a lot of work-life issues, you just didn't fit in, right? Because you don't fit into a box. Uranus rules Aquarius. This is the most outside of the box thinking person ever, meaning no boxes, meaning I'm not following your rules, meaning I'm super rebellious. This could have been your relationship with your dad. You could have fought all the time. And even though it could have been various different things, ultimately it was about you being who you want to be. You could have had these very same issues in your work life. They want you to take lunch at noon. You want to take lunch at 4, and you might as well go home because you have an hour lunch. These types of things is very Uranian. Even down to the way you eat your lunch. You probably don't eat a lot here. Or you don't need to eat a lot here, so maybe you can work through your lunch breaks, and you was always forced to take a lunch, and you're like, I don't want to take a lunch, so I can still leave at 4. These types of things could have come up a lot, and in your home life, perhaps this could be around curfew, right? You had a certain curfew that you were supposed to be in. You had expectations in the house that kind of put your need for independence and uniqueness in a box, and that caused a lot of constriction. This even could be, if you have children, something that your children, you have to fight with your children with. And then you have Pluto, and let me just make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah. These things could have led to a sense of lack and feeling like you're not enough. That's very Virgoan, where your dad could have been like super critical, so talk down on you, like every goddamn thing you do. They are so nitpicky, like, no, you're not doing that right. No, you got to do that this way. Very, very critical, right? So that could have been another thing that you and your dad fought a lot about, or that you fight with people at work about, or again, things around your children. Like, this could be a part of your parenting style, and perhaps your children don't like it, right? I think the sense here is, the lesson here is to allow for flexibility, so letting go of something, which makes it so perfect that you have Pluto here. It's just unfortunate that you had to learn these things through some very karmic placement. Virgo is a very karmic karmic placement. Nonetheless, whether people like it or not, this is why Virgos are very successful too, and so there's that kind of, you got to see things both ways type thing, where we got to meet in the middle to see the bigger picture, right? And that's something that you probably had to learn over time. And that's kind of what Pluto helps you do. So Pluto in Virgo is very your primal urges, fears, scandals, power and control issues. Yeah, that goes back to this energy here. So you have very practical ways of, dealing with these types of things, right? Any kind of Virgo thing. And it could always really just lead to some frustration. To be honest, but when you master Pluto, again, you learn the lesson of strategic planning and why that made you so successful. I even want to go to the extent of saying, like, having a goal board or a dream board. This is very Capricorn traits, right? Writing your goals down, taking notes. This is why you probably are a manager of some level, sorts. Always, you probably have no problem with getting managerial positions. And you could be the manager that's super critical here, or you run your house like this, or your parents did this, just very, very, very calculated, analytical. Yeah, but you give service too. So you could have grew up in a very religious home where your parents are always giving back, or they volunteered a lot. And so you give back in some kind of way, or make sure that you give some kind of way, or you have some knowledge and understanding of marketing with this kind of placement of the purpose of giving back, right? That's very mercurial. So Mercury is also rules Virgo as well as Gemini. So these things can be so crucial to your success, although again, you had to learn them in a very difficult, hard kind of way. You could be debt, through debt, unfortunately. Or, you watched your parents lose your property from debt. Because Pluto's about some kind of loss, right? So letting something go, some repetitive cycles that repeated throughout your generations, that you're breaking this cycle by doing something different or understanding your situation in a different way. That's just what Pluto does, right? So you think about all the difficulties that you may have to experience out of all these things that I'm saying, and once you matured and grew up and understood the purpose of all of those things, even though it gave you bloody hell, it was like you rose above those issues to understand them in a way that better serve you today, that make you the person that you are today, and you're able to teach that and give some kind of wisdom around that in some kind of way. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. You could also be very lenient with your children with that Libra energy there. But Venus supports you here around your children if you do have them. And if it's not children, it's you turn your hobbies into business. So you do what you love, really, and Venus supports you in that. Acting, sports, the actual act of having sex, so the immaculate conception, fun, play, sex, romance, children. That's what this rules, and Libra brings balance to these things, right? So if you do have children, you pride yourself on making sure that your children aren't doing too much of any one type of thing. They have a healthy balance of everything here with this placement. And again, if you don't have children, you do this for yourself. So you might have 1,001 different businesses, you know, like you have a lot of different things that you do. Like you have a lot of different hobbies, but you balance them very well. And yeah. And so, yeah, you have vision. You didn't last in any of your jobs for long, that's for damn sure. You might have employees here with this placement. Or again, you're just a manager. Like you like that power and control position. Well, you're good at it too, you know. And then, you have Mars and Scorpio here. Yep, so that speaks to the sex part. I'm just going to say that right there. So perhaps you left your day job and eventually started your own business. I don't know why I'm picking up on MLMs here really strongly, but I don't know, like something about a transformation of some sort that you had to get really super creative in, something that wasn't very easy to do. To become your own boss, essentially, to become a business person. But this Neptune and Scorpio energy is very intuitive. You are extremely, when I think of Neptune and Scorpio, I think metaphysical understanding, knowledge, what did I say? Did I say intuitive already? And Mars breaks down the illusion. So you learned quickly that, it wasn't best to be in no damn job anyways. It didn't do anything for you. You probably wouldn't be nearly as successful as you are and or could be with that anyway. And this could be something that you're learning on a very massive level. But you're a visionary here. You have foresight through creativity nonetheless. I'd even say magic. So perhaps you study, you research, you study and you research and you study, you research and you study, like you're a force. And again, it just wasn't, this ride wasn't easy for you, but you learned a lot. You learned a lot and you have a lot to give. So you had to break down some of these old beliefs and systems and structures and experiences and philosophies even. You probably spent a lot of time educating yourself. If not school, again, I just don't see, or maybe you had to unlearn. So maybe you did do a lot of higher learning, perhaps through college. But then you just still, unfortunately, you're still learning, but you probably learned the most by doing your own research. Scorpio brings things unseen to light through research. Some kind of knowledge So that's why I say the metaphysics, very metaphysical. There's another word I'm looking for. Like you decode things. I don't know why the name is missing my brain here, but it's no different than an astrologer. This Scorpio also rules. Scorpio rules the psychology of money, what makes people tick. The psychology of what makes people tick. The detective here, research. You could even do taxes here with this placement. Oops, sorry. But now that I have it, I want to see your age now. 6. Yeah, so you got some wisdom here. You've gotten to a place in your life where you learned a lot, but it wasn't easy. It was not easy at all. But yeah, so the psychology of what makes people tick, the psychology of money, detective, mysteries. You go deep and do the research to learn things. It also rules astrology, palmistry, so all the parapsychologies, psychic, tarot, all of that. So there's some level of that you understand, that transmutation of transforming energy, so your negatives into a positive. This is the butterfly, the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. Painful process, but when that butterfly comes up, it's very beautiful, very transformational, and you're free. You take your wings and you fly away, and you cannot be touched here. You're the warrior here, so nobody's gonna get you to go back to work. That's for damn sure. That's what's not gonna happen. And you might experience some ups and downs with that. It's also about money or residual income, and those are long-term gains. So if you started late in the game, there could be some fear around those things, right? Like in the times that you're not working, like, damn, how am I going to make it? How am I going to get through type thing? But that will come with time, that will come with time, that you'll build up those gains, if that's even your story, right? But I could see that being a possibility with these things. Okay. And so this especially takes form, so your South Node are the skills and knowledge that you came here with from a previous lifetime and or from the time you were born up until about age 30, 35, right? So all this around relationships. Let me read more, because I don't think I really read that part. Hold on. Yes, so you could even marry a preacher or a philosopher or a teacher. You could be into arts, media, or this could be your siblings, travel even, like the work that you do, you can travel and do that. You can transform all the time. You probably had to transform quite a lot. Lawyer comes up here again because Jupiter rules high courts, the high courts. So like federal, I think of federal here, federal law, or you just maybe a paralegal, like you understand law, especially if you're in real estate, or what other reasons do you need to know? Money, investments. I believe those things go hand in hand, especially if you're doing like trusts and insurance, I believe. Those types of things. So you have perhaps some knowledge around that. You can have some really strong ideas about how marriage should be, or these are the type of people that you attract when it comes to marriage. So Seventh house rules marriage, partnerships, all partnerships, business partnerships, contracts, agreements, counseling, counseling, mentorship, and the marketplace. I call the diplomat, the seventh house. I call the diplomat because it's balanced. So you're either bridging the gap from one thing to another, or you're bridging the gap between an issue, problem around culture. So again, that thing about diversity comes up again here, being somebody who's good at, has an understanding of diversification around culture, and that's something that you teach. Or you attract these types of people. This is definitely somebody who could be a marriage partner, but you grow, and as you grow into this north node area of life, you're looking for that divine union. So you're probably working on your divine self now, and ultimately that's going to lead you to your divine union if you're not already in a relationship. And it doesn't mean that means you got to break up with the person that you are with, or these are the issues that are coming up, right? Somebody who tries to impose their beliefs on you or has strong beliefs about marriage, and you're like, no, I don't really believe that, right? Because Geminis are very free-minded, free thinkers, free beings. We don't like being told what to do. And I say we because I'm a Gemini sun. And so those things really just don't go together. But either way, you could have had partnerships with these issues within them, but they've also transformed you in some kind of way, perhaps. And now, you're transforming in the way that's going to bring you your divine partner. I actually would be very surprised if you haven't found your person already. Now, and I think that's a great segue into your transit chart, because you're having a nodal return. So let me see, I'll blow this up so you can see it a little better. I just want to show you so you can see what I'm talking about. So the outside chart is the transit chart, so that you're literally looking at the sky as of 10:30 a.m. this morning. That's where the placements were. It's right around the time that we talked when I generated this chart. Okay, and this is your chart on the inside. And so what this shows me is where the placements are aligned with you right now. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's a stellium in your first house over this area of life that is now highlighted for you. Look at, you're right on top of each other here. This is huge. This is huge. This is a huge major change for you. And this has been happening since last year. And you have until the end of the year for this to fully play itself out. But wherever Venus is, always and forever, she's supporting you. Whatever it is you're going through, whatever you're trying to change. Again, going back to your look, your personal appearance, taking center stage in something, getting recognized for something. Teaching, writing, Sagittarius also rules like publishing. Maybe you have a bunch of different stories to tell, right? You've had so many different experiences in a certain area of your life that you could tell a story. You're teaching somehow with your wisdom, something that you've learned over the years for all that you've been through. It's kind of coming to a pinnacle here, and it's asking you to take that and do something with it. Public speaking, this could even be broadcasting, some kind of communication, This is your testimony. It's time to testify. And you have all the support to do that right now. Um, That was the main thing I think I wanted to show you. You have Cancer and Mars right now, so there could be a lot of family conflict, maybe some old memories coming up. Just remember that this isn't a long transit. It's very short lasting, but whatever is coming up, I would jot it down and just sit with it, go through the experience. Be present. Go through the process. But just remember that whatever this is a reminder of who you are not anymore. Because it's Mars, and Mars breaks down anything that it touches. So whatever I said about this Cancer area of life is currently, again, being broken down. This is a major change. Something is finally letting loose. Maybe your mom, if you and your mom were having issues, it's a major breakthrough. If you and your family were having any issues, it's a major breakthrough. Maybe any kind of family issues that weren't working out well, there's a major breakthrough. And unfortunately, that just means anytime there's a major breakthrough, just like with that Scorpio energy I was talking about, it comes with stress, and Mars is a sign of war. So this isn't easy. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. But I also think at this juncture where we're at globally, and even with yourself, that there's still some kind of knowing that this needed to happen, right? Like eventually this was going to happen. Like the bubble was going to burst, whatever this is representing. Even if it's not with your mom or your family, it could be some kind of debt or your possessions. Maybe you're not budgeting. You're not influencing generational wealth, generational security, emotional security. Those types of things there. Now's the time. It'll break down, but you'll also be given some kind of insights on how to fix that. Let's see, where else is really lit up? Pluto and Capricorn. So this area of life that I talked about is lit up here with your emotions and not being very emotional, being very practical. So this really is coinciding with this energy right here. So you could potentially be really I really would like to say that this is more positive than negative. Just because you went through so much with this, I just feel like, in a sense, perhaps that you are finally getting the proceeds of all the hard work that you've had to endure. And granted, this is your enemies and perhaps, people who don't really have your best interests at heart, unfortunately. And they could have been family members. These could have been family members that you've employed and it's not working out somehow. And maybe that's difficult. Nonetheless, I still can't help but think that you're getting some kind of support from this now. Just because this transit is almost over. So the Pluto went into Capricorn back in 2008. And it will be there until 2024. And we're in 2021. So we only have a few more years with this transit. So I feel like we're really starting to wrap up a lot of these issues that Pluto brought to us. Like a lot of things came to light with this placement last year. Like shit really hit the fan, you know? Like we got a reality check with Pluto. And now we've kind of been able to restore those things. Yes, we still have a lot more to do. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that it's easy, even though we're restoring. I'm just saying this is definitely the ending of this, more so than like something's just starting or beginning type thing. Saturn and Pisces. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Jupiter and Pisces is actually Jupiter and Aquarius. Jupiter and Pisces is only going to be there until the 29th, so I'd go back and listen to my videos on Jupiter and Pisces. Jupiter and Pisces, Jupiter and Aquarius. It has all 12 signs, and I would do Gemini, Virgo, and Capricorn, so you can get a full picture of what's going on with you. That's on my YouTube page. I don't think I did a Saturn and Aquarius video. But I'm going to do some horoscopes on Sunday. Maybe before then. I haven't made up my mind yet. But nonetheless, I'll be posting those soon so you can see what Saturn is coming, because this is about to turn retrograde. So that's another lesson, and that coincides with this area of your life as well, even though it's playing out in the 9th house, which is more of a release to this and building some more structure and systems, new freedom that you've been looking for, okay, with this area of your life. You know, being able to work from home, being able to travel now and work at the same time, and understanding how to get the taxes for that, right? Things of that nature, you know, the benefits of working from home and how you get the taxes on that. Perhaps even if you have children, you know, you can hire your children, and how to get the benefits of to that. So these are all benefits, I think, now with this Saturn and Aquarius energy is really setting us up for. And granted, I don't want to sell easy at all. Nonetheless, we've really already hit the pinnacle of that. The harsher of this energy was last year. I would definitely go back and watch my Pluto and Capricorn video. I'm trying to think if I did one. I'm pretty sure I did. I just can't remember. I might have quite a few of those ones out. I would definitely watch my Sagittarius eclipse and Gemini eclipse video. You could do my Cancer and Mars video. I really think this is super small to everything else that you got going on here, but if you're interested, I do have a video on my IG page. I also have Gemini and Mercury, Gemini and Venus videos on my IG page. You're more than welcome to go check those out. And you can get your horoscopes for these as well. If you're interested in that type of thing, on my Patreon page, feel free to subscribe and become a member on my website. And I hope this information was helpful. I cannot wait to hear how I did, if this was on point, if this helped you at all, if it was what you expected or not. I'm really, really looking forward to hearing back from you. I'm super excited about your process. I think you should be in a good space now. Granted, not selling easy, but definitely clearer. That's what I'll say. Clearer. Some clarity. All right, love. Peace.